by alone inside. He's got the breakaway with the touch to the right. Goal! Everything you wanted from this debut. It's Brandon by taking a shot with the left. Goal! Isaac Friend from 25 yards out. The equalizer. Will Kidd with the touch of the goal. It's a go-ahead goal. Minneapolis City.
This is the People's Pitch Podcast, the official podcast of your Minneapolis City Soccer Club, brought to you by Summit Brewing Company.
My God, we are back, folks. The eCup has ended, and it is time for us to officially kick off the 2021 Minneapolis City summer season run of shows, and it feels so good. This is the People's Pitch Podcast, the official podcast of your Minneapolis City Soccer Club. I'm your host, John, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, my podmate, my e-broadcaster, my past and future drinking partner, the Nate Morales. Nate, it has been a long break away from the show, even though we were together over on the Twitch for the past 2 months. Are you ready to pull the train out of this station?
All I got to say, John, is choo choo. Talking about video game soccer for 2 months has been great, but I'm ready to finally start talking about real life human soccer.
Yes.
And John, as the first bit of human soccer business, I have started my Roseville co-ed soccer comeback this week. Training has begun. I am running all of my fart licks, as Adam called.
For those of you who don't know what a fart lick is, apparently it's like a suicide type shuttle run. That's what he calls it. So
I thought they were intervals.
I mean, yeah.
He's like, when you're running your fart licks, you run super fast to the next light post, and then you run normal to the light post after that. I'm like, dude, that's intervals. Who calls them fart licks, Grandpa?
Apparently he does. Before we dive into the show, Nate, I did want to say that it was literally 1 year to the day ago that we had canceled our final training session the week before our Open Cup game down in Chicago versus FC United because of the COVID. So
is that true? 1 year?
1 year ago today. We were talking about it kind of in our coaches' text group today, that it was a gentle reminder of how far we've come, all the crazy to think back on that's happened there. I mean, everything that's come and gone since then, and as a result of what happened with the virus, and then you throw in all the unrest over the summer. I mean, it was craziness that has ensued since we canceled our season last year, but we are all coming out on the other side, and with fingers and toes crossed. This summer we'll be back in full swing so that we can actually do this damn thing in real life.
We can hope.
Mm-hmm.
John, the content machine that is Minneapolis City is just getting warmed up. Let's check out what we're going to talk about tonight. First and foremost, the eCup came to an end once again without a cup to drink beer out of, but you and I had another great time.
Yeah,
the city
sweatshirts.
City player Max Seeger had another great run. We'll talk about it a little bit. Our schedule of NPSL action has been released, so we will do a quick rundown of the conference and earmark some must-see matches. And finally, a city stalwart and People's Pitch icon has retired. Total icon, total legend. Life comes at all of us fast, John, so we totally get it. But we're going to bring this legend on to talk about his time with City and give him the proper burial that he deserves.
He's not dead.
So, oh, yeah. Look, all I'm saying is that later on, we're going to lay him down in a boat. We're going to push him out into the river, and we're going to shoot flaming arrows at him.
I mean, what better way to send off? I mean, I think that's
dead or alive, it's happening.
I think that's in the club bylaws and how you get retired.
Let the messy run begin, John. The horseplay, the grab-assing.
How do I follow that? It was a fun beginning of the new year as the Rona restrictions started to be lifted and soccer in its actual form started to come back in somewhat of a full swing. But once again, we were blessed with the opportunity to represent the club in the most popular e-gaming competition in all of the lower league soccer land, and that was the 2021 lower league eCup. Nate and I, on the back of some serious heavy lifting by our producer Tyler, who, let's be honest, without him we don't pull off any of that stuff. So thank you so much, Tyler. But we put the band back together, grabbed club co-captain Max Stigward on the sticks, and dropped some serious esports for all of you. We got sweet sweatshirts from Stimulus for them being our title sponsor. It was a really great time. Although the outcome was not a trophy we can drink beer out of, as you already noted, this year's Cup was so exciting. And once again, Joe and all the folks at Lower League eCup put together a great event that is such a great thing for the small little slice of soccer pie that is soccer from the third division down.
Yeah, that's for sure, John. It was such a good time. Really loved being able to put on the headset again with you. Definitely upped our production game this year. The matching sweatshirts were a definite bonus. Really, really cool time. Now, if you missed out on it, or if it's just not your thing, or you weren't, I don't know, maybe you were asleep and now you're just waking up. The Lower League eCup is something that happens every year. Happened last year, like right before George Floyd's murder, and I think we wrapped up like the day before the unrest started. Yeah. So that's how I always remember it, like in that period of time. So I was, now this year's is of course, in the history books as the pandemic eCup. So there are a number, there've been iconic happenings in the world around these eCups.
Yeah, there has.
But they have been great times. 124 lower league American club teams that reside in the third division of soccer or lower participated this year. 3 divisions were represented: people that played strictly on the PC, people that were PlayStation players, and people that were Xbox One players. This year there was a premier division as well as a second division, and I heard there were some shenanigans around that second division potentially, but the idea was that second division was for those that were maybe less inclined to be competitive gamers and more just kind of couch casual players like myself that still wanted to compete.
And some glory chaser dipped his toes in there.
It sounded like it, didn't it, in the chats in our broadcast near the end. I think there were some salty players that got knocked out of the second division that think that maybe their competition was a little too steep, but whatever. Too bad for them. Every Minneapolis City match was live streamed on Twitch. So you can always go back and relive the action at twitch.tv/MPLSCitySC. Max went through 3 group stage matches, one match a week, and then into the knockout rounds. All coverage was covered at Lower League eCup on Twitter. Of course, they've got this new weekly podcast that broke down the coverage. They were running predictions. They had weekly performer spotlights. They had every match. The results of every match was being posted. So it was he really upped his Twitter game this year. It was really great. This year, instead of picking a lower league team or like a team from the second division of every major European league or lower, and upping them to 85 overall rating, this year you could pick any team in the world, but you would still be evened out to an 85 overall rating. So that was pretty cool. Max this year picked PSG. He was pretty all in with PSG for most of the tournament, except for a very impressive win using Juventus, because both him and his opponent had PSG as their number one pick. So they went with their second picks so they could square off against each other. More on Max, John. Max, of course, very experienced FIFA player. Used to join me on our Twitch show Foot City that was running when FIFA 21 launched. We might try to revive that here near the end of the season, but I know everyone's schedules are getting busy. Super experienced, like I said, a lot like Jonah was experienced last year. Consistent performer in the weekend league. He plays. His fiance told us he plays about 12 plus games a day, which is
a lot of FIFA.
Woo!
That's a sign you don't have any responsibility.
We loved his style. His full throttle attacking style was on display in this tournament. He scored some of the best goals I've ever seen. in this tournament. So that was a good thing to be a witness of.
So no disrespect to Jonah Garcia, who is our worthy club rep in year one, but Max came out to put a show on, and that he did. You mentioned some of the goals he scored. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but he finished second in Group D, which is something that Jonah didn't do. Jonah won his group, and he did earn easily a playoff spot, going 3-1 in group play. And then he had a 15 goals for against goal average with plus 11 if you're talking about points there, and then 6 total points from his win-loss record. In the playoff run, he was throwing all sorts of issues like internet connectivity problems, rescheduling of matches, game time miscommunications, which I may raise my hand and say part of that was my fault. Something called Gamer X. And a matchup versus digital Eskimo brother Evan from Ford Madison to make it all the way to the finals.
Digital Eskimo brother.
I thought you'd like that. But in playoff action, in 4 matchups leading up to the championship, he went 32 goals for and 13 goals against to earn the right win percentage he needed on the aggregate to get into the final. And in the finals, however, Max finally ran into the buzzsaw that was a legitimate top FIFA pro representing Metro Louisville FC, another NPSL side, and things did not go great as he fell to aggregate 17-2, and our dream of another trophy was dashed, Nate.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Yeah,
but,
I would say so.
It's funny, like leading up into throughout the tournament, I think you and I struggled with like, what more can you say when Max is dominating a player so thoroughly? Mm-hmm. You run out of things to say, and you think like, well, it's a good problem to have, but that problem remains when your player is being dominated so thoroughly.
What could we say? Like,
eventually it's just like, oh, another goal. Oh, there goes another one.
It was like we talked about it. And it's like everyone was nerfed to 85, but it just like seemed like that dude he played was just quicker, faster. Like his decision making was just that much sharper, and it looked as if he was cheating, but he wasn't. He was just that good.
Right. Absolutely.
So there were many highlights of the Cup, Nate. What was your top memory of 2021 action?
Oh, it's the goals, baby. Oh my God, some of these goals. Last year, Jonah, very clinical finisher, but I would say he relied on ball movement and high percentage shots to get his goals and to get his wins. Max, definitely more of a showman. Some of these goals he scored were worth the price of admission on their own. Whether he was chaining, it's just a phrase, man. Whether he was chaining skill moves like the rainbow over defenders and into the drilling home of the volley, or pulling off the tomfoolery from the free kick spot. Like, this tournament run was full of quality entertainment.
For me, it was the epic comeback versus Gamer X, who represented the Louisiana Crew when Max hit that unreal free kick to force overtime, with like minutes to go in regulation, which was the bump he kind of needed to cement himself into the Final Four. And at that point, it was like we hadn't ever seen a free kick goal in 2 years of coverage. But I'd also say that was, for you and I, a teachable moment of sorts, as we pulled out all the jokes on our broadcast, only to find out that Gamer X was actually 16 years old. And in hindsight, we may not have said a few of the things or done a few of the things that we did on that broadcast, considering he was a minor. But lesson learned, maybe give out the real name of your player, or maybe a shout that they're underage, so we don't look like more of a jackass than we already are. So,
true.
Not 100% on us, but we'll take some of the share on that one.
Yeah, man. Well, regardless, thanks again to Joe and the Lower League eCup. Hey, if you guys ever need a couple of jackasses to spice up your Twitch waves, we are always happy to oblige for anything you need. Another great tournament, super super cool, really fun. Happy to have been along for the ride. If you guys want to relive any of the action, there are a couple of the group stage games up on City's YouTube page right now, as well as the now infamous Rainbow Juggle Volley Goal. Otherwise, you can check out Minneapolis City's Twitch page, twitch.tv/MPLS
And we'll have Joe coming on in a couple weeks here. So we'll do our typical recap and hear all the dirty underbelly of the tournament logistics that we didn't get during the Cup.
That's right. Esports, check it out. After much deliberation, John, in what always feels like backroom maneuvering, the full NPSL North schedule is finally out, giving City fans everywhere something concrete that they can start looking forward to. We will be opening the season on May 8th away, getting the always difficult trip to Sioux Falls out of the way early. John, you have that circled, I know, because that's a sneaky party trip, isn't it?
It really is. Our guest that we're going to have on here in a bit, we recorded his part before, and he talks a little bit about it, just how fun that trip actually is. But I have some sad news, Nate. That weekend is Mother's Day weekend, and being the fact that I have 2 children and a wife, I have been told that there is no way on this God's green earth that I'm allowed to go on that trip this year. So unfortunately, we're going to have to wait till 22 for me to dip my toe back into putting on my party pants for that trip.
John, I've got some good news for you.
What's that?
Oh, how is it early? Why is it so early?
What?
Never mind. I don't have good news for you. I just looked it up. You're right. That's crazy.
I know.
See, the way my mom's birthday is near the end of May, and I always think like Mother's Day is a week before my mom's birthday. So I'm thinking like you're a week ahead. Somebody conned you into staying for a week.
No,
that is sad for you.
I know. Trust me. I looked at all the calendars. I was like, no, you're wrong.
Calendars, the Chinese calendar, the Georgian calendar, the St. Joseph, whatever.
I consulted the Farmer's Almanac. I was all over the place.
Still definitely, you went to Stonehenge to double check, and it's still definitely Mother's Day.
It's like,
damn that's too bad.
I know. So, so there's a few other road trips that I could possibly take here, but it looks as if my annual pilgrimage with the guys is going to have to wait for 2022, which totally sucks, but it is what it is. It doesn't mean we can't have fun in other ways, but that one is I don't get the chance to like hang out with Nigel's mom anymore. It's just so many layers to that one that I'm gonna miss. But
I know.
But hopefully 3 points come out of it.
That's for sure. Well, fans' first chance to see the Crows in action will be the 5:15 home opener against the Dakota Fusion. And as we get closer to the season, I just want to say that of course, more news is going to start to come out of other teams. And you and I, John, I'll be able to pull previews together as far as like, what do these teams look like given their returning players, that sort of thing. But let's just say for now that any game against Dakota is fast becoming less and less of a worry for any serious NPSL North contender.
I would say so. Yeah, for sure.
May 22nd will be at Eris. May 26th, Duluth comes to town for a Memorial Day weekend clash. I usually like heading up to Duluth on Memorial Day weekend. It's kind of a fun road trip to spend the long weekend, but it's a little too bad. The next week, 6-5 Med City comes to town, John, and this is back-to-back potentially tough matches for us, but at least they're both at home, right?
They're both at home, and it definitely is an opportunity if we're flying high early, which we know we outside of getting that for some reason tricky Sioux Falls away match under our belt, we could potentially take like the patented city hot start that we've been kind of known to get to, because we're one of the clubs that has our players. I mean, we're going into week 7 of our preseason already, when most of these teams haven't quite figured out who's even going to be on their rosters. So, when you look at the Duluth and the Med City game on 5/26 and 6/5, there's some things to think about there when it comes from a competitive level. We don't know who, like you mentioned, who's really going to be making up these teams, but you have to look at the pandemic having a real impact to the teams like Duluth and Med City, who typically rely very heavily on host families hosting some of these talented players to come in for the summer. And you'd have to believe that there's still be some people who are cool with that, but you'd also have to believe there's some folks who are going to be like, hey, I don't want a guy from Brazil coming over to live with my family.
No shit.
So I mean, like, all joking aside, that could really hamper potentially how two of our strongest components annually make up their rosters. So if we're at a point in time in the schedule where we can get to them early and build that lead, what's the magical point number? 28?
I don't know.
I think we came up with it. We've come up with it in the past. So it's either 28 or 26 points. If we can get a large jump on some of these teams before we actually hit the road, or they start to figure themselves out, we could be looking at a real advantage from what the schedule is telling me.
I had never thought about that. That's a really good point.
Well, that's what I'm here for, Nate.
Good points. June 9th, we're gonna be traveling to Dakota again, a long road trip
on a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday. That's not ideal, but the competition will. It's up to Dakota to provide the competition to make that road trip difficult. I think it's just the long travel, the midweek stuff sucks enough. But if we can go up there and walk all over a team, all the better for it. 6/12 is an away game, but that's when we're going to get our first look at Joy Athletic, which is the new addition to the NPSL North, who recently pulled both Whitney Brown and former Minnesota United star Andre Gottsmanoff out of retirement to play for them. So that's pretty incredible and should be interesting to see middle of June.
And with the loss of Twin Stars and VSLT, we didn't really have a crosstown rival of sorts anymore in the conference. So one, it keeps travel down, which is great for everyone on both sides of the coin, but also it gives us the opportunity to have, some in-town bragging rights being played for, which is good for everybody as well.
You got to love it. 6/19, June 19th. I would say the best traveling team in the conference comes to town. That is Sioux Falls.
Yeah, why is that?
We will definitely hope to see Nigel's mom in the stands if we allow fans in the stands.
It sounds like a halftime segment for Nordo and I is to have Nigel's mom come join us.
Can you mic her up?
I mean, why not?
How fun would that be?
Why not?
Mic up Nigel's mom, go down to, like it's the All-Star game or something. We're going to Nigel's mom, see what she is.
We don't even know if Nigel plays on the team anymore, but we're making some huge assumptions here.
Doesn't matter. June 26th is we're welcoming Eris. June 30th, it's at Duluth. Always a tough trip, but like you said, who knows who's going to be playing for Duluth this year.
I might make that one this year.
It's always fun. I'm going to try to take some time off of work and make a long trip out of it. But we'll see how that goes. July 10th at home against Joy. And I think if we have fans in the seats, this is really going to be their first taste of the best atmosphere in the NPSL North.
Mm-hmm.
July 17th, as is tradition, it seems, we will be finishing our season away at Med City in a game that's probably going to crush someone's playoff hopes. That it happens every year that we wrap up against Med City, and it means we either eliminate them on that day or by virtue of the result of that game, somebody else gets eliminated.
Yeah, I mean, we knocked them physically out 2 years in a row on that last day. And then last year, us pretty much just throwing up our hands, trying to stay healthy for the incoming playoff game, which ended up being against them a week later. They knocked out Duluth by getting a result against us. And that was the first time they'd ever beaten us at home. So yeah, if I were them, I would stop scheduling us the last day of the season. But hey, I don't make the schedule. So
is it up to them?
I mean, it's not necessarily. It's not up to them. They can say we need to reschedule that game to a different day. But if it were me, I would do it all. I'd pull out all the stops, try to figure that one out, because historically it has not been something in their favor. Their coach got red carded in the game last year. And wasn't unable to coach the playoff game. So even though they made the playoffs last year, to not go into it with your head coach is kind of a big deal. So that was a big loss for them. But yeah, I mean, I think the makeup of the schedule, if I look at it, is I think since year 2018, is probably, 2018, our undefeated year, I think is probably the most favorable that we've had in quite some time.
Yeah, I'd agree. And then, John, July 24th, the NPSL playoffs start. And that feels like a long way away when we talk about it now. And we've been stuck inside for so long. We can't see any of our friends and our family. But all of a sudden, I can tell you, when it's happening, the season feels short as hell, and the summer will already almost be over by the time the 24th hits, and it's gonna hit like a brick to the gut, man. That this is it. So
can't wait.
Savor the season while it's here, and hold on to every bit of that anticipation, because the winters are long, man. This week, of course, is not including any UPSL action, which is also included in your membership if you are a member. No details yet from either league or the state as to whether or not fans are going to be allowed at games, but rest assured, John and I are spearheading the movement. We are on top of providing the top game day experience that you crave, whether that means we have to go virtual or if we can welcome you all in person from the booth. Stay tuned to this space in the coming weeks for details of that.
Get your memberships. Get them now. Don't forget and be a Jimmy come lately and think that you're going to be able to sign up for things late, because we don't know what the fan experience is going to be, and if it's in person and there's any limitations. If you're lower on the list, sorry, there's nothing we can do about that. So plus it's it's tax time, and apparently there's a stimulus check coming, so some of the folks that qualify can just roll that right into a 2021 membership. What's that?
I said, you people have money. You have money coming. We know it.
The optical illusion of my finances, Nate. Get your memberships now. Also, we're going to be rolling out some pretty exciting things from an 11-a-side perspective for some friendly matches that are more intra-squad, maybe a white versus pink game against the UPSL, NPSL team. The Futures 11s getting the top cream of the crop from our Futures program to play against our first or second team. We're gonna do whatever we can to bring soccer action to people now that we can bring it back at whatever level we can. So again, get out there, get your membership now. You get your cool scarf, you get all sorts of stuff. So sign up today.
Wonderful.
Sign up today. Can't wait. The ugly side of what we do here at Minneapolis City is when those household names that we had for ourselves and our fans that we've grown to love watching when the ball rolls out make the very hard decision to hang up the boots. And we are such a close-knit band of brothers from top down in the organization, and we truly become very close. So it's really hard when we see one of our own move on to know when it's their time. Players like Goose, Wexler, Andy Laurie, Trey Benhart from our inaugural season, as well as later additions like Tim Wills and Martin Brown Jr. already have seats at the alumni table, but we are adding another member tonight, and that is the man whose name has been turned into a verb, and we will forever and who will forever be our podcast sign off. The Swiss Army knife of Minneapolis City, the Kevin Hoof, is with us tonight to talk about his time with the club and what's next for him. Mr. Hoof, thank you for joining us, my man.
Yeah, thanks for the intro. I'm gonna start crying here, I think.
I mean, hey, if you got to shed tears, no one's gonna think down on you. I mean, personally, I always get excited when you join the show, but today is kind of sad for me. I'm not gonna lie. You know, sorry to have kind of the somber note to start, but for real, you know, I know you're just a phone call or a text away, but I'm definitely gonna miss you, and in the city headquarter halls, as we move forward.
Yeah, no, it's kind of sad, but I was thinking one thing today, kind of at dinner. I was thinking, if you guys need me on a podcast, there's always one guaranteed listener every single time I'm on a podcast.
That's true. We'll just contract you to be you're like a bot for us.
Yeah. There's one guaranteed. His name is Keith.
Mm-hmm.
And we can still have your dad on. There's no problems with that. But before we dive in deeper, want to give a quick rundown of your city stats, your time with us. You played 3 full seasons with us from 16 to 19. Yep. You had your gap year in 18 where you stayed up at school. And then, unfortunately, like most people, you lost your final season last year due to COVID. You've been on the show 5 times as a guest, I've counted, and which today ties you as the co-leader with Adam Pribble at 6 appearances for the most capped guest. So
does he really count though?
I mean, yeah, he does, I guess. But from a player perspective, you have big shoes to fill, Kevin. On the field, you've had 30 career appearances with the Crows. You played just over 1,800 minutes. You've scored 1 goal, which was a fantastic and a very crucial goal.
One great goal.
One great goal. That's all you need is one good one. Surprisingly, only accumulated 2 yellow cards. You won 1 NPSL North conference in 2019, and you walk away from the club with a scar on your face that is a daily reminder of the club when you look in the mirror. So you're welcome for that.
Yeah, it'll always be with me. Another thing too, that was David's debut as a trainer. So just kind of broke him in pretty early.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I remember that night fondly as your blood spray almost hit my feet as I was standing there on the sideline. But we'll talk about that in a minute here.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Kevin, take the people back to the end of the winter and into the spring, all the way back of 2016, when you were at school. You're a sophomore at Northern Michigan. I think on some previous shows you said it was the school you had eventually landed at because your first choice didn't quite pan out like you had hoped. It wasn't quite the culture you were looking for, right?
Not at all.
So you end up at Northern Michigan, a member of the inaugural soccer team at that school, right? How did, with all of that on your plate and all having gone through kind of all of those changes already in your young collegiate career, how did Minneapolis City walk into your life?
Yeah. I mean, when you're deep rooted into Minnesota soccer, I mean, you kind of get to know everybody, and everybody talks and word by mouth happens. I mean, that's kind of how Minneapolis City kind of grew in the first place. And I used to play for Twin Stars back at the time, and it was fine. It got me prepped for college, but I wanted to find a club that might be a little bit better. Nothing against them. I respect them. But Minneapolis City kind of came up, and it was just so much positive feedback behind it. And, all the best players in Minnesota were talking about it. So it was just kind of like, shit, I got to get in there. If these guys are getting in there, I got to get my foot in the door. And it's kind of funny because at first, I did the tryouts. I practiced with the team, and I wasn't given a first team spot. I was actually given just a practice squad spot, along with playing with Staggies, which I'm blessed by that, actually. Love the Stegmans, but and then I just kind of had to work my way in there. But that's kind of how I found it, just word by mouth, really.
For the record, I'm currently wearing the Northern Michigan zip up that you gave me.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd dust it off and pull it out of the closet for today.
Nice. Yeah. And I'm glad it fits you, because that thing's like a bra on me.
So here you are, like you said, you kind of joined the practice squad of Minneapolis City. Really, you're just playing week in and week out with Stegmans, which is probably great in its own right, because of all the players that we know were on the team at the Stegmans team at the time that kind of grew into Minneapolis City with you. What was that like back in the day when you turned up on day one? you're in the practice squad, you look around, there's, all, like you said, all these guys that you had kind of known by reputation are playing for Minneapolis City. There are your the Stegman's guys are alongside you that you would come to know and love. Like what were you thinking at the time? And when you look back on that now, like what was something that that you appreciate more today?
Yeah. It was really different at first. It's a brand new club, and coaches are trying to figure out what the team's going to be, and players are trying to figure out what their role is. And every single player wanted to be the star. Every single player wanted to be in the first 11, right? So, I mean, the level of competition was extremely high. It still is now, but it was a different feel to it. Now it's like, it's a family feel. Guys, it's a great culture. It's a family feel. It's high competition because we know where we're at and where we need to go. Then it was just high competition. Like, I need to beat out the guy next to me.
Like a trial. Almost.
Yeah, it was a constant trial. And granted, every practice is a tryout, obviously, still today. But then it was just a little different.
Sure.
But I appreciated that because, I mean, you got to work your ass off to find your spot in the team and to continue growing with the club. And it made me do it. It got me hungry.
Well, things were very different back then.
Yes, they were.
Whether it's it was the training, the pennies we had didn't have Stimulus Athletic on them, and they weren't reversible, and we didn't necessarily have the full bag of balls pumped up every time. But you were a member of the team that played in our first ever game against the Milwaukee Barbarians, and no one can ever take that away from you, Kevin.
True.
Walk us through that trip and what you remember most of that game.
Yeah, that game, I remember Keith Kicker looked at me and he said, we were playing a 3-5-2 at the time. And he said, all right, you're going to play the wing back. And I was like, oh, can I swear? Yeah, I can say that.
Oh, okay. Absolutely.
I was like, oh, fuck me. Cause that's literally the worst position in all of soccer. Because all you do is 100-yard sprints back and forth. So that is what I remember from that game, is doing 100-yard sprints the entire time, just thinking to myself, I cannot wait to get to college so I don't have to play this goddamn position anymore. Oh, that position sucked. And then the other amazing thing about the Bavarians is having the brew house right there. And all of us jumped over there and had Spotted Cow on tap after the game, which was incredible.
All of you 21-year-olds.
Yeah, we were 21. My card said so.
I mean, talk a little bit about like the competitive level, because that was probably, you were playing with Twin Stars at, previously, and that's around the same level of in the U.S. soccer pyramid. But that's a club that you're playing against that is a perennial winner and is kind of cream of the crop. Has 120 years. Well, at this point, doing some dirty math in my head, over 120 years of legacy behind it. What was that like, moving from the college atmosphere to that?
Yeah, it's a little different. Like it's kind of hard to describe, I guess, in a way. 'Cause club, I mean, you look at it like you're trying to get better. You're trying to compete. You're trying to be the number one guy constantly. Whereas in college, it's very systemic, and you fit into the system how you are, and you play that role. That's your part of the team. That's your job for the game. It's a lot more systemic at the time. But when I first entered Minneapolis City, like I said before, it was such a high competition that like we didn't necessarily have that chemistry yet where we could just slot guys and say, hey, this is your job, get it done today. It was more like guys were just flying everywhere, trying to get everything done and be the number one guy and just compete for their starting spot. Sure. There's nothing wrong with it, but I'd say that was kind of a difference there. But I mean, I'd say the level too, I liked the level with Minneapolis City, playing in the PLA, playing in the NPSL. That's probably my favorite soccer I've ever played. Because once we actually settled in we were actually playing like decent soccer, moving the ball, combining, moving up the field slowly, taking it tactically. Whereas in college, I mean, depending on which conference you're in, there's usually pretty standard tactics. Like me being the GLIAC, it's sit back and counter the entire freaking game. Or just defend, let them attack you. And then as soon as they get numbers up and you win the ball, you freaking hit your forward. He bounces it off his chest to the wing and you're down. That's every single team. So that way too. I mean, it's just better soccer in the NPSL.
When you look back on the years, the varying seasons and the different team makeups that you've been a part of, which I don't want to say which is your favorite, but what year do you feel like was most exciting for you to get into a game?
That's a good question. Man, I really wish I would have been a part of the 2018 team. I'll tell you that much.
Going undefeated would have been nice.
That was my favorite season to not be in. God. I almost want to say the first year we were in the NPSL, just because I knew a lot of the teams in the league already. So I had some familiarity around it and who we were going to be playing. And it was our second year as Minneapolis City. We kind of had it a little more together. We kind of had a better vision. We had the same guys, and we had a better idea of, what the first team was going to be. And there's a little more chemistry. So I think that one really excited me because we kind of had a base built and we knew where we wanted to go. And that's why it was so exciting.
So players that come and go, I always have, the follow-up conversations and with them, and they all kind of pick out and point out to me like how positive the experience was with Minneapolis City as a stop in their soccer journey. And each of them has like an experience or like a moment where it clicked for them that like this was it for them. They loved it. What was your it moment when you went from an experience standpoint with us that hit you?
John, I'm going to have to go off script. I'm going to have to go away from the soccer part because that's such a typical answer. I mean, us playing the Finger Cup game in the hotels every away trip. I mean, nothing beat that. Like the team was so fun, so close. Like that's what hurt me the most is because like everybody's a brother on the team. And when we would have those nights and we were just fucking around, we were having fun, like there were only laughs those weekends and like the best of times. And then there's you're hanging out with us. There's Pribs, who we almost convinced to butt chug one night. That's a different story. We can save for a different time. But we'll see if he comes back on the show and can explain himself. But
he's slotted to be on next week.
Yourself.
We'll have him explain himself.
Yeah, make that a segment. Tell him to explain himself. But no, I mean, like just those like late nights with the squad, so fun.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about matches, Kevin. When you sit around the halls of soccer Valhalla with the rest of the guys, what's the match that's gonna sit at the top as the most storied, the most memorable of all of the games that you played with Minneapolis City?
Man. There's a lot of them. I'd say, I mean, a good go-to is the one game I had my one and only goal.
Sure.
The winning goal against Twin Stars. I mean, it was something special because, we played Twin Stars at Maple Grove High School, where I went undefeated my senior year there. And I had to uphold that record and ended up scoring that goal and we won the game. So that was pretty sweet. That was pretty special.
There's a lot to unpack in that game. You're playing in your home turf. Yeah. You're playing against your former team.
Yeah.
You got a chance. It was the first time in, how many years you got a chance to play with Luke and Max again.
That's
so to me, that one's your defining hoof moment.
It is.
And when you didn't play in the first half, you came on as a sub And if I remember correctly, and you were the game changer. Like not just that you scored the goal, you literally turned everything around, because we were down 1-0 at that time that you came on, and then we ended up scoring relatively quickly, and then ultimately you nodded in your game winner.
Yeah, I mean, I just know that field, home field advantage, completely different game.
Got all the meta down on that field, right?
He's got the meta down.
So the club has made some serious improvements from the beginning days of having to share a training pitch with a youth team.
Oh yeah.
Like I mentioned, as a player, what were some of the improvements that we made as a club that made you feel like our organization was one that players should really be a part of?
I really felt valued when you guys started washing the pennies.
The standards are so low.
that was a big change. That was new. I liked that. But no, I honestly, I would say just more structure around the coaching staff, and having a good, vision and plan where the coaching staff was on the same page always going into practices. And when we were prepared to have a good session, it was a lot better. Like I felt like the first year, it was pretty all over the place. Never really had an idea of what we were doing, and it was constantly changed up in practices. Second year, it was better. Still kind of a little wild. And then once we kind of got a good structure of, people in different positions, kind of coming up with a good game plan of what that's going to look like. I mean, I think it showed too. I mean, we improved like crazy. So I think that helped a lot.
Well, back then we had, we'll call them 1.5 coaches.
Yeah.
And two and I'll be the half. That's when I had to. But now if you count, you can count them on 2 hands. You can't. We have 11 coaches on the staff right now.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So yes, it has grown. I mentioned it briefly before when we were talking about your accolades. I'll never forget the day that you blasted your face in training.
Yep.
A lot of people don't know that story. Can you tell the listeners about that, how and what happened, and then also how the night unfolded for you after you left the training pitch?
Yeah, that's probably the worst part. It was ridiculous. No, I mean, it was just, it was the winter trials, right? So, I mean, high competitive level, everybody's going in, right? Guys are playing for a spot on the team. So people are going to go ridiculously hard. I mean, I knew I had a spot on the team, but I just wanted to match that level, and I was excited to play. And so we're just playing. I think, how did it go? I think Elder might have thrown a ball, or maybe it was cleared from the back, and there was just a ball kind of bouncing. And Ken Love, I remember it was Ken Love, was running at me to head the ball as a clearance, and I was running up the sideline to just head it over him, and then just keep going across the ball back in. And so what happened is I beat Ken Love to the ball. I nipped the ball like with the top of my head. I followed through. He completely missed the ball. He followed through, and we just smashed heads.
Oh.
And I immediately was like, I've broken my nose before. I've had multiple concussions, and I was just like, I remember I hit the ground just on my feet still. Ken Love was like laying down. That guy was donezo.
And, he was on another planet.
Yeah, that guy didn't even know what day of the week it was or what month it was. But I was just standing there. I was like kind of on my hands and knees, like, holy shit. And I just like, also I just felt a bunch of blood on my face. I'm like, oh God, right. I broke my nose again. So then I kind of like tilted my head and was feeling my nose. I'm like, oh, there's no blood coming from my nose. But I feel like there's blood literally everywhere. And then I was like, oh, Jesus, my head hurts so bad. And so I like went down on my knees because I was getting kind of woozy. And I looked down and there is just a faucet of blood just pouring from my forehead, just right on my toes. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's not my nose. That is my forehead. And I remember I looked up at the coaching staff. And
I was standing right there. I was literally like right there.
This was my favorite part. It's just every single coach, you're like, oh, fuck. Everybody's just like turning around. Like nobody wanted to see it. It was so funny. And
you could see your skull. That's why we didn't want to see it.
No, it literally, I get to the hospital, it's literally to my skull, but we can get to that. David, it's his first day ever as a Minneapolis City trainer. We just got that deal with him. So he came out to be there for the trials, and I see him just full sprint and just smacks just a wad of wrap,
gauze or something
just on there. He's like, hold this, and I'm like, okay, just smack my hand there. And then he literally mummied just my head. Like I don't know how fast that guy ripped that gauze around my head, but like I literally was just a mummy within seconds. And I remember I just walked over to the bench. I wasn't too dizzy or anything. I didn't get a concussion, thankfully, but I just was sitting on the bench like, what in the hell am I going to do? And Dan comes over. He's like, hey, we should probably go to the emergency room. I'm like, yeah. I was like, can you drive me? I don't think I should drive right now. And Dan's like, yeah, of course I'll drive you. He's like, just call your dad. And so I call up my dad. It's probably like, it was what, like 10:30 probably at night?
10:30, yeah.
So, Keith, good old Keith is probably rolling in the bed or just got into bed, just got cozy, probably just fixed his pillow up. And I call him and I'm like, hey, he's like, what? Just immediately, what? I'm like, hey, I'm going to the hospital. My head kind of exploded. And all I hear on the other line is just a deep exhale, just so pissed. And he's like, all right, which hospital? I'm like, we're going to the St. Paul one. He's like, all right, I'll be there. Just so pissed, just hangs up on me. And so we go to the hospital. Dan's just sitting there with me. And it was a peak of flu season. And so something I learned that night is if somebody throws up in the emergency room, they immediately have to take that person. So I'm sitting.
So you stick your finger down your throat?
Right. I should have. Jeez. And so I'm just sitting there in like an emergency room of like 20 plus people. Everyone has the flu. So I'm sitting in the corner, like trying not to be close to anyone. I get checked in. Lady's like looking at me like, oh, what happened? I'm like, well, can you tell by my skull and the blood all over my face? Like,
lady, I'm bleeding everywhere.
Yeah, like my skull is showing right now. But they're like, all right, we'll get you in as soon as possible. We sat there for 2 hours, I think. And Dan looked at me. He's like, hey, I got to go. My dad was sitting there. And so then Dan left. We're sitting there for like another 30 minutes. Me and my dad are like, screw this. Let's go to Maple Grove Hospital because that's where I was living at the time with my parents. Mm-hmm. We drive 30 minutes to Maple Grove, get to that hospital. We check in. There's 3 people in the waiting room. So we're like, oh, thank God, we're going to get in pretty quick. Hour later, they get through 2 of the people. Then all of a sudden, more and more people are showing up. Somebody literally walks in puking in the emergency room. We're like, oh, there's one person in front of me. Lady walks in having an asthma attack. And I was like, all right, take her. F it. Like, she looks like she's in horrible shape. Take her. And then finally, oh my God, it was like 3 hours. So we waited probably 5.5, 6 hours. I think it was 4 a.m. at the time. So it's 4 a.m. They finally get me back there. And I'm looking at my dad. I'm like, hey, get a picture of this. This would be really cool. And so the lady, she's like, all right, are you ready? My dad has the camera up and she unwraps the gauze finally. And it's like, takes it all out. And it's just my head. And my dad goes, holy shit, that is really fucking bad. And I'm like, and a little backstory. So my dad was a paramedic for like 2 years. So he's seen worse stuff, right? He's seen a head chopped off a body. So like for him to look at me and say, holy shit, that's bad. I'm like, oh, great. Thanks, Dad. Like, that's really encouraging.
Making you feel super good.
Yeah, hey, that's awesome. And so the lady's looking at my dad like, are you serious? And so finally snaps a bunch of pics, and then she wraps me back up. I get back there, and then the surgeon sewed me up right there, which was awesome. He looked at me, he's like, oh, no problem. And it was deep to my skull. He had to do what was it, like 22 under stitches underneath, so inside, and then he had to do 18 to 20 on the outside. So it was nasty. And then we finally got home at 5 a.m.
I'll never forget like watching that play unfold and thinking like, oh my God, Hoof's not slowing down.
Yep. And
then the impact of your heads hitting, there was like a sound of it, almost like a clap, like a muted clap, like 2 blocks of wood hitting each other. And I was sitting next to Coach Jeremy, and we both had to separate because the blood on the impact shot directly at us, and we had to like dive out of the way of it. It was almost like someone took a knife to a water balloon and it just shot straight ass. And we both look at each other, and he immediately like looks over at David, who's like just, sitting there on his phone, like, this is great, nothing really happening. And all of a sudden, like, he's like, David, and then David looks up and he grabs all of his shit, and like you said, he beelines it over to you. I'm like,
time.
I'll never forget that, man.
That was crazy. It really did explode too. Like, it wasn't just open up.
It wasn't
and
a slow
bleeding.
drip.
No, it was everywhere.
Wow, dude. Well, Kevin, given all of your amazing stories, if there's one sales pitch that you would give to a player that's from Minnesota, looking for a place to play, whether it's between, college seasons or, leading up to college or even after college, right? What would you say about Minneapolis City?
I mean, do you like to have fun while you're playing soccer and getting better? Because you're going to get all that in one club, and you're going to grow with a club that's going to nonstop grow, and it's only going to get more fans. I mean, we've had how many players who are now professionals play with us? So it's clearly a high level. You're going to have fun with the boys out on weekends. You'll get away from your parents and they can't tell you what to do.
Somehow I'm the adult in the room.
Yeah. Biz usually is not the most mature in the room sometimes. No, just kidding.
No, I mean, it's partly true.
No, I mean, if you want to play for a soccer club that genuinely cares about the players and their personal development as well as their soccer development, Minneapolis City is the club for sure. And it's simple as that.
So, last question here before we dive into a new game on the show.
Yeah.
The $1 million question. So why are you stepping away from the murder, and what's your next move?
Yes. So very, very tough decision, obviously. I remember I was on the phone with Adam, kind of talking it through with him the day I kind of hung up the boots. I literally got home. I think that's the first time I've shed a tear in years. But no, I mean, just kind of where life is taking me right now. I'm ending up in Madison, Wisconsin. I mean, the fiance's family's located in Wisconsin. There's good job opportunities. It's a booming city. We want to kind of go do something on our own, create something new. I've always kind of wanted to get out of Minnesota and make a life that's mine and do something a little different and not be here my whole life. So it's just kind of the way things worked with timing, and that's just kind of where life is taking me right now.
So, I mean, Uncle Biz has your back. If you want to play soccer in Wisconsin, I know the people. Oh, yeah. So all you got to do is let me know, and I can get you hooked up if you get the itch again.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so game time. We have played so many games on this show. All of them, I think you actually have participated in. We had word association. We just put to bed Ask John Anything, where I went undefeated. Suck it, everybody. I apparently am a unfiltered open book. But we have a new game this year called Crowfax.
Ooh.
So here's how the game works. We're going to ask you 3 questions that are somehow crow related.
Okay.
They could be about the club, or maybe a specific player, a specific match, or maybe just about the bird.
Okay.
If you have the actual answer, feel free to give it. If you don't, you have to make up an answer.
Okay.
So an example would be like, who's the shortest crow to ever play for Minneapolis City? And
Yeah.
the answer would
Goose.
be Ben Wexler.
Oh, Wex. It is Wex.
See, yeah, it's Wex. So you already failed the test question. So
I was just
only up,
making a
it's
lie.
only up from here.
I'm keeping you on your toes. That was a lie.
Yeah. So does the game make sense to you?
Yep. I got this.
Okay.
It's like 2 truths, 1 lie.
Are you ready?
Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. Question 1. In year 1, the Crows' assistant coach was the soccer Buddha himself, Jeremy Iwaskovic. Spell Iwaskovic.
Holy. I can picture it. I got this guy on Facebook, and he always posts about his kids in soccer. All right. Can I write it down, or is that cheating? Do I just have to go straight from my head?
I feel like if you're writing it down, it's still coming from your head. So whatever you got to do, man.
Okay. Give me a second. So say it again. Use it in a sentence, actually. Let's make this legit.
The name of soccer Buddha is Jeremy Iwaskovic.
Oh my God. Well, that's just so wrong.
Just so you know, I still can't spell it right. Even looking at it in front of me, I don't know what it is, but I have it.
I'll get the Vitch part. I'll tell you that.
I don't think you will.
No, I know there's a bunch of random letters in there, but I can't think about where they're placed. Oh,
well, it begins with an I. I'll help you out there.
Oh, thank you. I thought it was an E. No, so it's IW Iwaskovic. I'm gonna go IW EAU. I know that's probably not wrong, but there's some crazy letters in there. EAU Iwaskovic. Oh, jeepers. We're gonna go SKOVIC.
That is not correct.
Yeah, I figured.
It is IWASZKOWIEC.
All right. Sorry, Jeremy.
So again, for the fans, it is IWASZKOWIEC.
No.
So not an easy one. Not an easy one. Okay. So question number 2. Who was the starting lineup, which you were a member of in our first ever game in 2016 versus Bavarians?
Oh boy. Goalkeeper to front? Every
goalkeeper to front.
All right.
Just the 11.
Okay, so it was goalie. Was it Matt Elder?
I feel like goalie's pretty low hanging fruit.
Yeah, but I remember Stinky Pete playing some games.
He was year 2. He was year 2.
So it's definitely Elder.
Yeah.
So we're going to Elder.
Could have been Duncan. Could be Duncan. I don't know.
We're going to Elder on that one. Stinky Pete, man. Elder. We're going Trey Benhart. Obviously, I sat next to him in the brew house. Nick Hines, maybe. Myself, obviously. We had AO. We had Ben Wexler. We had Matthew Guay in there. God, that is really stretching my memory here.
This is a really hard one. I got 9 of the 11 when I was.
That is impressive. Wow. Okay, so we're building from the back. We're going Elder. We're going Trey Benhart. We're going Nick Hines on one side, me on the other side. We're going
You mentioned AO.
Yeah, AO.
You mentioned
AO is definitely in there. Andy.
So now you're in your midfield.
Andy Laurie. We're gonna throw him
Nice.
top, if I remember right. I might be wrong. The legend himself. Holy buckets. I don't think Gway was with us there.
It could be. I don't know. You tell me.
God, I hate this game.
You have two more players, not including yourself. I'm sure you're going to want to say yourself.
Yeah. I already said myself. So that was like the fourth player I added was myself. I'm going to go. No, he wasn't on that trip. Ooh, Brian Chapman.
Okay, one more player, and then I'll tell
Wisconsin
you the
Eau Claire's Brian Chapman.
In the back. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Brian Chap. Who's the other defenders? It would have been. AJ Albers.
Okay, so
Decent.
you are all over the place from a correct standpoint and from an incorrect standpoint. So it was Matt Elder, Aaron Olson, Trey Benhart, Nate Engel.
Dang it! I was gonna say that. I didn't know if he was on.
Abdallah Ba.
Oh, Ba. Okay.
Samo.
Okay.
Who you didn't mention? Wexler. Yeah. Yourself. Connor Stevenson.
Oh my God! Yeah.
The Gambler. Connor Stevenson. Matthew Gway, which I know you wrestled with, and Andy Laurie.
Okay. See, I knew it was a good-looking blonde on the other side of the field, and that's only Nick Hines or Connor Stevenson.
So you went with Nick.
I went with my twin.
You, Nick Hines, and Connor Stevenson. Have you ever seen you all in the same room? Because you guys all look like maybe the same person. Okay, so last question. It's scientifically proven, so we're trusting science here, that outside of Homo sapiens, the New Caledonian crow is the only other species on the planet that has been proven to build and use tools. What tool does the Caledonian crow build, and what do they use it for?
Doesn't it build like a hammer to crack open nuts?
Is that your final answer?
I mean, I'm just going to go with that. Yeah.
So that's incorrect. Sorry, you're not really killing it in the first ever crow facts. These are hard.
Tough.
The New Caledonian crow makes hooks with its feet out of sticks to extract insects from hard to reach places.
I mean, why doesn't it just use its beak? That's what beaks are for birds.
But maybe it can't get into hard to reach places, Kevin. I don't know. But they are the only other species outside of humans that can build tools.
Yeah, I knew that. I'm a little disappointed because I watch a lot of Discovery Channel.
That's good.
You got close,
not
man.
Bad.
I mean,
not bad for the
you did good. You did good.
First new game of Crow Facts.
Yeah.
This is good.
Nothing wrong with being the guinea
Crow
pig.
Facts.
Can only go up from here.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you know what to plan for kind of next time you come on.
Oh, yeah. I'll be on again.
Yeah, Kevin, you will. But like John said earlier, it's really sad today to hear that for you to tell the people how you're hanging up the boots and why. But, it's great to have you been around, to have had you around. You've been a key member of the Brotherhood. You're going to be missed. You're never going to be forgotten because if anything, your name will live on in this here podcast. So we wish you the best of luck in what life throws at you, and don't be a stranger. We'll definitely see you around on our road trips.
Oh yeah, big time. I'll always be supporting. I'll always be watching. And thanks to all the fans. Thank you to all the fans. You're the ones who made it special.
All right, Kevin. Thanks so much, man. Sad day, but we will forever be in each other's lives.
Yes, we will. Whenever you come to Wisconsin, Biz.
All right. Which is often, so I'm going to take it.
All right.
All right, man. Well, good to hear from you, and take it easy,
Appreciate
man.
it.
And thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right,
bye.
See ya.
That is all for this week's show, folks. Thanks to Kevin, and thank you, as always, to our show sponsor, Summit Brewing Company. The weather is starting to turn, baby, and that means it's almost Pilsner time. There is nothing better than fueling your Suds session with an easy drinking beer. You got Keller Pills, you got Dakota Soul. Summit has what you need for the warmer weather that is on the way. Head on over to your local liquor store and support our friends, Summit, a more meaningful brew since 1986. If giving back to the community means a lot to you, it is time to finally give to the club that gives back. Minneapolis City is a 501c3 that provides safe, reliable, and fun environments for young people to play the beautiful game, as well as especially in our newly formed Future Program Scholarship Fund, helping to provide funds for our future players and for who are the future of soccer in Minnesota. Consider a tax-deductible donation to a true city-focused organization. Hey, if you've got anything you want to cover, you want us to cover, you want us to go on any quests on your behalf, make sure to send us some mail. Hit us up on Twitter at The People's Pitch with some suggestions, or you can always email us at mcscpodcast@gmail.com. Every once in a while we get an email. It's nice. People are just kind of like, hey, here's something I was thinking about. And it really is like, thanks for the thought. We'll cover it in the show. All questions, comments, and concerns are definitely welcome. And finally, as always, you can hit the club up at MPLS City SC on the Twitter sphere. Thank you for joining us for yet another year. Here we go of the People's Pitch. That is going to do it for tonight. I am Nate. That was Kevin. And that was John. The season is just over the horizon. And become a member and make sure you're joining us for all the fun so that you, too, get hoofed.
You got hooked.
Poster burning maple weeds, cradle major keys. Thinking back, I've been major since the minor league. So supreme, too much sauce off my olive NMDs. I could staple steez, bend the goat so I get the cheese, never fall. Rake them leaves and make sure every moment gets seized and everything I see.